I mean, look, at the end of it, we all want to be loved. I mean, I've never come across anyone that says that I want to be loved. Okay, and
we're all created out of love.
We all created love, yeah, and we all want true love. And it's a big thing. And you've given us a rundown of what bit of background as you as a marriage celebrant, being a sanctifying that marriage, but I guess also going through the spiritual realm of a marriage. And I think that's also what's lacking in people going into marriage, not really thinking of all the implications and what they're supposed to do and act in a marriage and what it really implies. I think like it's a really much two becomes one. Okay, you're no longer it's me and an I, it's a we and an us kind of thing. And a lot of people, I guess, the way after they have this grand wedding and they're so up in wedding, and then afterwards it's just like two people that happen to live together. That's the way they act, and I guess that's also the way they think.
That's why it's very important for the person to know themselves. It becomes a path of evolution,
and actually know that you're taking on. It's not just you anymore. It's just with the partner, the person that you've chosen to be together for the rest of your life. Now, whether or not it ends up that way, you should have the intention going into it. That is what it means, and that's what you intend to do. Yeah, you agree?
Yeah. It's for life. I mean,
it is for life. And, And for that, I tell people to please take a lot of care, and it's the choosing in the first place that makes or breaks, really. And that's why I do what I do, and in the astrology, I mean, you do what you do to impart people in spirituality, and I just make sure that it is correct. And I guess the main thing with astrology, good thing is people cannot lie. People putting in the front because they want the relationship, particularly if the other part is very rich. There's always going to be gold diggers. And I guess in a way you can't blame them because it's human nature. We all want a good life. And we all prefer to have an easy life. And so that's why there's so many people hangers on and people around people that are wealthy. It's human nature. As I said, rightly or wrongly, it's human nature. And I guess with astrology, they cannot lie because it shows up, and they can't even give you. It doesn't even work if they give you a fake date of birth, because that's where I generate from. It's from the date of birth. So that's also a reflection of their karma. That's why they were born into. That's why given that chart, born at that time, it's a result of their karma beforehand. The previous life, if they had a good karma, they have a good chart. This life, that's when they have an easier life. If they were bad, they're born in that, they dictate they have to have a hard life. So that's the chart that they were given, that they have to have. And in someone that wants to lie, they can't even give a false date of birth, because they would have no idea whether or not that's going to be compatible with their target who they want to please. So that's a thing. I see it as a tool, and a very good tool as well. Like I actually did come across a twin flame couple, as you mentioned with twin flame. They said they were twin flames, but I had a look at their charts, and I could see why they were attracted to each other so much that they thought that they were twin flames. But I personally would not have recommended that match because they changed each other. And with me, I guess it's human nature. You need to be yourself. You need to, if your partner reaffirms it or helps you to feel being what you want to be, that's the best. It's just like, you try to reach that thing a bit too high, but if someone can just grab that for you and give it to you, that's satisfaction. You've fulfilled your aim, or able to lift you up so that you can grab it. But instead, if they take your arm, have this instead, and you get that, but that's not really what you want. And that's a change. So that's why I always encourage things. So I do agree with you in just saying that, twin flames are great, but you can't always marry your twin flame. And I guess with me, I add a bit on top of it. Sometimes you shouldn't marry your twin flames if they're going to change you. If it's being a big indication that there is a big compatibility in that. But that's also really I should say an attraction, a big attraction to start with, but that's always a starting point for me. So I guess and a lot of the spiritual stuff and the karma and so forth, they overlap a lot. I guess with Tao, I'm not sure how much you know of Taoism, but the astrology, the one I do comes from Taoism. That's with the yin and the yang symbol, with the complementary energies and so forth. And I guess the charts relate to how naughty or nice you've been in the previous life, and it's reflection of that.
Yeah.
So,
from my spiritual point of view, is that things can change. Not necessarily it should change, but can change for the better through spirituality, through good energies, through balancing of the karma. And even people's lives can change. Their character can even change because, but whether essentially, as you could see from the charts, that maybe their essential nature is such and such.
Yeah.
But things can change. People can get better. But whether they should marry,
it's a different aspect.
Because the karma could be so bad that they will just negatively influence each other, and they will not. In fact, they will not. They will not fulfill their mission in life and their divine plan, or what they need to do in this life.
Yeah, like I was saying, I see in the charts there are people that should not marry, and there are people that should not have children either. And it's hard to deliver, but that's the news I have to deliver. Essentially, and some people's charts are actually perfect, that they should not marry because if they marry, you always get the effects from your partner, and it could just wreck it. Or the people, or if a marriage, if they marry, it activates their house of spouse, and that locks up their chart. So they shouldn't. Same thing if you have children, it'll activate that child, either son or daughter, and that could be either bad or good for you. Then you should not have children, or should not have a son, or should not have a daughter. So it's hard to deliver, especially when people have like 2 or 3 daughters and they want a son. And I say, please don't. It's for your own good. Don't have a boy. Another thing, but but on the other respects. If someone's got a deficiency in their chart that's got an issue, and that other person's chart actually resolves it, you need to marry that person, because then your life would just go up. You've that complementary that you've been resolved, or if you're saying if you're lacking certain elements and your partner has an abundance of it, you just compensate it. A bit of a borrowing. I equate it to a bit like an athlete. You see, everyone has. Athletes, firstly, you've got to have natural talent. Okay, be born with the right genetics. But you're always going, people have a bigger performance if you're being shot with steroids. It's illegal, but for argument's sake, and the effects will only last as long as you're getting those steroids. So the good effect or bad effect would only last as long as you're with that partner. So I guess it's more, would that be the same with karma? As though if you're with that person, you take it on, but once they're gone, that's it?
No, you have to yourself. This is what I meant for beginning. Everyone has to develop themselves. You should actually be borrowing from someone else. That should only be temporary.
Yeah, it's
temporary. You yourself have to become evolved. You should evolve. Everyone has to evolve. This is why the nature of the topic of my book. That everyone has this desire to evolve himself. You can't just be leaning on someone all the time, but you yourself have to be evolving.
No, it's certainly not lean. It's not so much leaning, but just because they're with you, things just shoot up. Yeah. Or just because
this is good.
For example, you might have a business that might have no involvement out of it at all. Yeah. But just because they're married to you, your business just goes up. That sort of thing. Yeah, that's what I think. Yes. Or on the other hand, you just brings it down.
Yeah. It's all about energy and vibration. Yeah. That's why it's so important to find be in the right vibration, be in the right environment. That's again part of somehow this feng shui, right? That and then astrology. So everything has to be aligned in such a way that it is fortuitous.
Yeah. Okay.